During the 1800s, Jefferson Randolph Soapy Smith II gained a reputation as one of the most notorious fraudsters. Spanning the American West from Texas to Colorado and even Alaska, Smith orchestrated various scam schemes with the likes of Texas Jack Vermillion, Big Ed Burns, and many others. Smith organized gangs that specialized in activities such as shell games, deceitful gambling, and other scams. His fraudulent activities persisted for several decades, leaving a lasting impact in the Old West. Jefferson Smith was born on November 2, 1860, in Newnan, Georgia, into a wealthy and educated family. His grandfather owned a famous local plantation, and his father worked as a lawman. However, like many families in the South, the Smith family struggled financially after the end of the American Civil War. In 1876, the Smith family moved to Round Rock, Texas. 2 years later, at the age of 18, Soapy witnessed the death of Sam Bass, the notorious outlaw. After a while, Smith moved to Fort Worth, where he began his career as a skilled con man. He forms a group of close-knit scammers and thieves to perpetuate his fraudulent activities, giving himself the title of King of Border Scammers as they travel from town to town. Local residents were drawn to the games offered by Smith and his associates, including shell games, gambling, and other scams with quick results. In the late 1870s, Jefferson Smith devised a famous scam involving the prize package soap sale, a scheme through which he could profit from large crowds. It was this particular scam that earned him the nickname Soapy. The scam would begin with Smith strategically placing the suitcase on a tripod on a busy street corner. Inside the suitcase, there will be a stack of ordinary soap bars wrapped in modest paper. As curious passers-by gathered to watch, he would proceed to wrap many bars of soap with bills ranging from $1 to $100. Smith wrapped them up in plain paper and sold them for $1 to $5 a bar. Mixing in with the curious crowd, Smith's associates quickly bought pre-marked bars of soap, excitedly opened them, and discovered the real $100 bill. The action created an atmosphere of excitement and entices viewers to eagerly buy bars of soap, hoping for similar good fortune. Of course, what they bought was just a 5-cent bar of soap, nothing more and nothing less. By 1879, Soapy Smith and his gang moved to Denver, Colorado, where they expanded their activities beyond short-term scams, delving into larger-scale scams. This activity included the establishment of stock exchanges and fake lottery offices. Aside from that, however, Soapy and his associates continued to stay engaged in their smaller-scale games, taking advantage of Denver's open-minded policy on gambling. As the profits continued to pour in, Soapy cleverly organized the numerous scam dens operating in Denver, forming a powerful network that he himself proudly considers his stronghold. To maintain his numerous successful scams, Smith employed a variety of tactics. He distributed kickbacks to pub owners and bribed city officials to evade arrest by law enforcement. Notably, he has shifted his focus from primarily targeting unsuspecting tourists to trapping local residents themselves. Furthermore, Soapy skillfully builds loyalty among members of his gang by quickly assisting anyone in distress and ensuring their speedy release from prison. Outwardly philanthropic, he also makes charitable donations to churches and contributes to the welfare of the needy in his city. Soapy even extended the use of his pub to ministers serving Sunday services, making himself even more sympathetic to the locals. Much of Soapy's operations in Denver revolve around his famous establishment, the Tivoli Bar and Gambling Hall. A special sign on the door reads Caveat emptor, which means buyers beware in Latin. However, those venturing inside in search of much-needed glass of whiskey or the prospect of amassing a fortune at the gambling tables doesn't seem to understand the Latin phrase. Notably, the famous Bat Masterson served as an agent at Tivoli for a period of time. For several years, Smith settled in Denver, making it his home. Although Denver newspapers published claims he had complete control over the city's criminal and gambling underworld, along with allegations of his connections to local politicians, including the sheriff, Soapy's illegal activities continue to grow. In 1891, Soapy successfully persuaded his law-abiding brother-in-law, William Cap Light, to join forces with him in Denver and become part of his criminal organization. Light, formerly a deputy sheriff in Belton, Texas, underwent a dramatic change upon entering Smith's realm. Together they encounter a case involving the Glasson Detective Agency, where it is alleged that the agency coerced a young woman into confessing to a crime. In response, Smith and his associates stormed the agency's office, opening fire. Through this, Soapy's image as a heroic figure in the eyes of many locals. By 1892, Denver's leaders began to demand reform against gambling establishments and taverns. Smith's influence in Denver was greatly reduced, in part due to rival gangs such as the Blonger brothers and his own mood swings and struggles with alcoholism. What's more, his popularity had such an impact that the politicians he's paid can't turn a blind eye as they have for years. On April 16, 1894, Governor Davis Waite won a decisive victory when the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. Soon after, the board of directors was replaced, marking the final failure of the old political machine. With this major change, new policies were quickly rolled out to clean up the town. One of the immediate actions taken was a ban on gambling, along with strong efforts by the authorities to crack down on various illegal activities, including prostitution and smuggling. Among their top priorities was getting Soapy Smith out of Denver. However, despite their concerted efforts, Smith still carried out his activities underground. Soon, along with his brother Bascom, Smith faced charges of conspiring to murder the tavern manager. While Bascom was arrested and imprisoned, Soapy took the opportunity to escape. As a wanted man in Colorado, he quickly ventured west. After Soapy's departure, the Blonger brothers took control of the Denver underworld. With the onset of the Klondike Gold Rush in 1897, Soapy Smith saw countless new opportunities and quickly settled in Skagway, Alaska. True to his style, he wasted no time establishing his dominion over the town, ruling it with an iron fist. Smith opened a pub called Jeff Smith's Parlor. There he continued his fraudulent activities. However, not all residents of Skagway take Soapy seriously. Excessive drinking and mood swings cause him to gradually lose control of his actions. As a result, a group of disgruntled citizens arose, forming a vigilante group calling itself Committee 101. The group threatened to expel Soapy and his associates from town. However, Soapy retaliated by assembling his own order group, which is said to include more than 300 members, aimed at intimidating the wary into submission, and notably, his strategy proved successful. When the Spanish-American War began in 1898, Smith took the initiative to establish his own voluntary militia, which received approval from the United States Department of War. Under the banner of the Skagway Military Company, Soapy assumed the position of captain, consolidating his dominion over the town. Meanwhile, the vigilante group grows increasingly disgruntled as Soapy's gang exploits the community. Soapy's gang tricked a Klondike miner into $2,600 worth of gold through the illegal game of three-card Monte. The vigilantes resurfaced and demanded the stolen money back. However, Soapy staunchly refused, arguing that the miner had lost fairly in a recreational game. On the evening of July 8, 1898, the vigilantes convened in a meeting in Skagway, Alaska. Knowing the news, Soapy decided to attend the meeting, carrying a Winchester rifle on his shoulder. He begins to argue with Frank H. Reed, one of the 4 guards blocking his way into the meeting. Not long after, a gunfight broke out, and when the smoke cleared, both men were dead. Soapy's last words were said to be, "My God, don't shoot." A letter from Sam Steele, the legendary head of the Canadian Mounties at the time, indicating that another guard, Jesse Murphy, may have fired the fatal shot. 3 other members of Soapy's gang involved in robbing the miners received prison sentences. The rest of the gang quickly disbanded. Soapy Smith is buried just outside the city cemetery. The Soapy Smith Party at the Magic Castle in Hollywood. An annual party on July 8th with costume contest, charity gambling, and magic shows.
Please like and share if you find the video content interesting and useful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment below so as not to miss the upcoming interesting videos. Thanks for watching.